Looking to elevate your gadget game, or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
For over half a century, Hongxi has been reserved only for heads of state and world leaders. It wasn't just a car, it was a privilege. Easy Car Sales is proud to bring that distinguished heritage to the Bahamas. A new era in luxury electric, rooted in absolute prestige. It's for the few who demand freedom from the gas pump and first-class craftsmanship. Visit Easy Car Sales to see if you're ready for a taste of royalty.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
And we are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC, 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Deandra Cartwright. Deandra, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well. Great to have you with us, as always.
Always a pleasure to start my week off with the Morning Blend.
Oh, wow. Okay. Great stuff. Great stuff.
I will say it sets the tone for the week.
Well, okay. I hope that's a good tone.
Well, you know, after the workout, then the radio, it's almost like all of the energy is kind of mellowed out. So, yeah.
Okay. Good to hear that.
Part, yeah.
Hey, got a lot to talk about, as usual, on this Monday morning, including our guests in our business segment. We are going to be talking with the Department of Public Health again about their digitization process and a whole lot more, the new initiatives they have that are helping, they're seeking to help to get the country on the right track in terms of health. So a lot to talk
Definitely
about this morning. That's coming up. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And in the news, the kicked off their political campaigns. Big thing with the PLP tonight. Apparently, there are going to be motorcades leading to the big thing they're having at Bahamar. At least one I've seen. So keep that in mind. It's going to be during rush hour. There could be quite a few motorcades leading to Bahamar for the PLP tonight. So yeah, keep that in mind. The F&M over the weekend in Grand Bahama. Kicking off their campaign as well. We'll get into politics in just a bit. There's some other stories in the newspapers we really want to get to, and some stuff we didn't get to last week that I want to touch on. Mm-hmm. But this interesting story on the front page of the Nassau Guardian today. Brothers arrested in Adriel Moxie murder probe who were later released are suing the police. Okay. Our Artesia Davis writing about this today. 2 brothers who were arrested for the brutal murder of 12-year-old Adriel Moxie and later released without charge have filed a lawsuit against the Royal Bahamas Police Force. That's according to their lawyer, K. Melvin Monroe. He told the Nassau Guardian about this. Both men were arrested on November 21st, 2024, the day after Adriel was found partially dressed and strangled in bushes near her home in Bonefish Pond off Faith Avenue. According to Monroe, one of the brothers was arrested while walking with another person. When police went to his home, they arrested his brother, who was detained for several hours before he was released. The other brother remained detained at Sandlands Rehabilitation Center, where he was kept under police guard until December 27th, more than a month later, 3 days after Chris Tyrone Ferguson confessed to the crime. Wow. Yeah, okay. So Monroe says that the men are suing for unlawful arrest, unlawful detention, and a breach of their constitutional rights, and are seeking aggravated, exemplary, and punitive damages. Now, Monroe declined to say how much money he was seeking. However, a well-placed source telling the National Guardian that Monroe had initially requested an out-of-court settlement of $250,000 before he filed the lawsuit. Ferguson, who was linked to the heinous crime through CCTV and DNA, took a plea deal last week and was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Ferguson, who worked at a car wash opposite Anatole Rogers High School, which Adriel attended, followed her home as she walked home alone through bushes at around 6 p.m. on November 18th, 2024. As you recall, as we told you in the sentencing story last week, Ferguson dragged the preteen further into the bushes where he sexually assaulted her and strangled her with his belt. Adriel's mother did not report her daughter missing until 7 a.m. the following day. Following his arrest, Ferguson showed police where he had tossed Adriel's school bag and confessed. He also apologized for taking away an innocent life. Ferguson, who had multiple previous convictions for housebreaking and stealing, lived at a halfway house in the nearby Marshall Road area. Wow. Okay. Hey, and I guess you have the right to sue if you feel like you were unlawfully arrested and detained. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It is definitely their right to do so. They do have grounds. Let's see just how far it gets them. I am still stuck on the actual crime itself. Y'all know I rarely don't have words, but I just this sort of thing is very prevalent. This sort of thing, is it becoming commonplace? I don't know.
Which part now? Not you mean being
the assault of
sexually
children.
Assault. Yeah. Okay.
The assault of children, the murder of children, the abuse of children. I'm confused. And then when I look at the sentencing, which is a whole other part of this, I just I want somebody to make sense of it for me, but I don't think that there is any sense.
Again, which part? Which part are you talking about?
Any of it.
All right, so he got 40 years. That's not making sense.
No, so that's one aspect of it, because if we look at what's happened before, what happens, because that's murder of the child, right? When we look at instances where there have been sexual assaults but the child survives, there have been less years given. I want to know the discrepancy. I want to understand better. We got 40 in this instance. Previously, it's been very low. Was this an example? Will we continue
Well, again,
this?
it's a plea deal, and apparently once you agree to take a plea deal and you plead guilty, you already have, I think it's a third of the time that you could get knocked off. So that's one thing we're dealing with. I believe I'll check out what he got for the assault part of it. I think it was 15 years. But you're saying you think that's too low.
No, what I'm saying is that in this case, I'm just making a generalized statement, not specific to this one. We hear 40 years for this one. We have heard 4 years in the past.
But that's a murder, though. You
Right.
never heard anything for murder before.
Pardon?
That's involving murder. You're talking about sexual assault.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, it's apples and oranges, yes
I
and no.
know, I know.
You are pretty much murdering somebody and their spirit and their soul, but it is not legally murder. Yeah. I get
So
it.
essentially what we're telling people is that the child must die for the person to be punished properly.
Well, we've been telling people that from the beginning of time with every crime, right? As long as it's not capital murder, it's not going to be treated the same way. Not at all. That's just sadly the way things work.
Okay.
That's just the way it is.
Okay.
Now, I'll agree with you that we've got to stop the concurrent sentencing, and some of these folks absolutely deserve to serve all these things all consecutively. Right? A great case has not been made yet as to why we do this here. So that one, we need our lawmakers to make that make sense without a doubt. Without 15 years for unlawful sexual intercourse is what he got. That's more than a lot of people get.
That's what
I
I'm
agree with
saying.
you
It's
there.
like this time the sentencing, once we separate the different charges, outside of the murder, you have double digits. I've been hearing single digits previously. Now we get the doubles. Will this continue, is my question. Or is it only when the child dies? I think I asked him too many questions that don't have answers this morning.
Yeah, I don't
so-
think anyone can answer the questions. I guess
No.
it's going to depend on the case. It's going to depend on a lot of different things.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's hear from you, though. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. A few messages before we get to the calls. This person says here, does Deandra understand that the perpetrator had mental issues and mitigating circumstances is a factor? Do you understand? I mean, why are you bringing this up? And what's your point?
See, now that's just also going to cost me to get even.
Why would you bring, what's the point of that? I don't understand why you're bringing
So we're
that
going to
up.
excuse. I know that the argument could be made.
Well, anybody who does anything to a child has mental issues. Every single person.
Right.
Right? So what's your point?
So, see, that just causes my stomach to start.
I don't understand.
rolling
What is he trying to
now.
say, though? I mean, so what? Because you deserve some leniency? You deserve what? What are you saying? Texter goes on and say it's weird that she has no consideration for the men innocently arrested and went back to the case. First of all, she said she had said nothing about that. What is wrong with you? Texter, we're going to block you soon. This is the same person who we've labeled as misogyny. You've got a real problem with women. I don't understand what it is.
If you were
You've
listening
got
at
to
the
get some
beginning
help.
of it, I agree that it seems like they have grounds. They do. Let's see what the case, what happens with the outcome of the case. I did say that. Were you not listening to that part? Were you not? See, we don't know
People
the
hear what
outcome
they
of that
wanna
yet.
hear.
We don't know what's going to happen with that. The lawsuit just began. They tried to settle outside, then they had the lawsuit. Clearly, the settlement didn't happen, so they're going through court to get it done. We don't know what the outcome are. What the outcomes are. We know what the outcomes are of the assault case and the murder case.
Yeah. This texture says, yeah, this has to be one of the worst of the worst. This case with Adriel. Wished he had got a death penalty, 40 years where the taxpayers have to pay for it. So sad. This texture says here, as a former law enforcement officer, I understand the urgency to act after a heinous crime, especially one involving a child, but urgency can never replace diligence. When innocent people are arrested prematurely, their lives are prematurely altered. Or no, their lives are permanently, they're saying, permanently altered. Families are scarred and public trust is eroded. Accountability must matter. This lawsuit should prompt a national conversation where protections such as qualified immunity exist for police officers. And where do those protections end when negligence or deliberate misconduct is proven? If damages are paid, does the burden fall solely on the public, or do the individuals bear responsibility? That question should extend to governance as well. When poor decisions or failures of duty, such as not hedging fuel costs that cause widespread financial distress to many, should ministers also be shielded? Accountability must be consistent, or justice becomes selective. Well written text. Thank you so much. Interesting questions
That
there.
is- I like the tone. I like what they're trying to say right there, because it's the onus. Is it on the system or is it on the person? Or is it both?
Yeah.
I want to see the outcomes of the suit. I want to see. because they're also challenging their constitutional rights inside there. I'm not sure. Did we catch all? I think it was 3 buckets that they're going after, and one of those is the infringement of their constitutional rights.
Yeah.
This is good. I am curious already about it.
Let's go to this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Deandra.
Hi, good morning.
Wonderful. Dwight, sometimes you scare me, but I think you come back around circle when you use the word, when Deandra asks, why some sentences are different from others. I think you bring yourself back around because when you use the word mitigating circumstances, because a lot of that, it depends on that. However, I totally agree with Deandra this morning. We need to make up our minds what we could do with certain aspects of the law. We need to go inside the house and we need to make laws for the betterment of the society. Another thing we do, Dwight, especially Guardian Radio is guilty of it. We need to say who these people, perpetrators of some of these crimes, are and where they come from. Yes, we have our own problems in the Bahamas. We deal with that. But when these fellas come from across the bar and do stuff like that, Dwight, we need to let the country know who they are. And I hope when he finishes 40 years, they send him back where he come from. Thanks for taking the Grammy boy. Go ahead.
So, listen, nobody here is trying to hide anything from anybody. And I think I know what you're getting at. When somebody is not a Bahamian, it is clearly stated in all of our stories. When there is limbo, and that doesn't mean, what can you do? What can you say in those situations? After this, and I guess this is what you're talking about there, this very bizarre press statement from the Department of Immigration. And we've been trying to clarify whether there's any... because this was handled in a very strange way. But anyway, this statement was issued. Bahamas Immigration Department clarifies status on Chris Ferguson. This is the murderer in the Adriel Moxie case. So the Bahamas Immigration Department wishes to address the public discourse currently circulating, and I didn't know where that was circulating anyway, on social media concerning the approval of a citizenship certificate to Chris Tyrone Ferguson, recently convicted of murder. In the interest of transparency and to ensure that the Bahamian people are properly informed, the department provides the following clarification regarding Ferguson's immigration status. According to the records of the Bahamas Immigration Department, in 2010, Ferguson, a Haitian national who alleged birth in the Bahamas, submitted an application for Bahamian citizenship. Following due consideration, his application received approval in principle by Cabinet, subject to the submission of additional required documentation. Those outstanding documentary requirements were not fulfilled. The department formally communicated to Ferguson that while his application had been approved in principle, completion of the process was contingent upon the submission of the requisite documentation, after which he would be scheduled to take the oath of allegiance. To date, the necessary documentation has not been provided. As a result, Ferguson has not been scheduled for, nor has he undertaken the oath of allegiance. Accordingly, Ferguson was never sworn in as a citizen of the Bahamas. The department emphasizes that an approval in principle does not constitute the conferral of citizenship. Citizenship is only granted upon the full satisfaction of all statutory requirements, including the submission of all required documentation and the formal swearing of the oath of allegiance and grant of the certificate of naturalization or registration. The government remains steadfast in its commitment to uphold the Constitution and laws governing nationality and citizenship in the Bahamas. All right, so here's the big problem, and we've been saying this for years. The problem is the Constitution. And as long as Article 7 exists, where if you were born here and you are born here to parents who are not here legally, and then you have an opportunity to apply for citizenship, we're going to continue to have these issues. We have to address this once and for all. You are now going around claiming this man is not a Bahamian, but he says he's born here, and obviously somebody must support this. He got very close. He just had to provide the documents.
Exactly.
We continue to have this problem. This cannot continue. We've got to have a referendum on this. And we've got to make it so that
Not-
you
not do I talk
cannot
about a referendum on
automatically.
this
We
Monday
have to
Not
immediately.
bringing up referendum.
We need several. There's several things in the Constitution that are
When the last
antiquated
time they
and need
tried
to be
to do
addressed. It
several
doesn't matter. It
changes to the
doesn't matter how many times you try. You got to try it until you fix it. It does not matter.
How many persons are interested in fixing it?
Well, every day someone gets on this radio and complains about something that is entrenched in the Constitution. We need to see how we really feel about it and deal with it once and for all.
Y'all had
When
a
it's
select- right,
convenient,
you have a referendum.
What's the issue? You're afraid? Are you chickens? Is that what we tell athletes and students? You didn't do well on the test, so give up, drop out of school? We don't do that.
Try again.
Yeah, grown up people do that. You amend your Constitution. It's not there for life. So put on your big adult pants and stop being stupid. Come on. And any politician who tells you they're afraid of, oh, we don't need to go down that road again, don't even show them a picture of the House of Assembly. Grow up, people. Let's deal with this. This will continue to be a problem when it's convenient. This is insane. And then we've got others, former politicians talking nonsense as well. This is in the Tribune today. Simonet, inhumane to deport child killer after serving sentence. What? Former Immigration Minister Brent Simonet said deporting convicted murderer Chris Ferguson after he completes his 40-year sentence for killing Adriel Moxie would be inhumane. You know what's inhumane? Kidnapping a child, raping her, and strangling her. That's inhumane. Well, what does this even mean? 39-year-old Ferguson was sentenced last week after accepting a plea deal in the killing of 12-year-old Adriel Moxie, whose body was found in bushes off a track road.
So are we talking about the mindset, right?
Let me finish what he's saying here before we get deeper. So immigration officials later confirmed Ferguson, a Haitian national who claimed birth in the Bahamas, applied for citizenship. Cabinet approved the application in principle, but only on condition that further documentation be presented. So Simonet says that the case highlights a legal and moral dilemma over what happens when a long-term resident completes a lengthy prison term decades later. He said, quote, that's the gray area immigration faces. He got a 40-year sentence. He's likely going nowhere. He'll do his 40 years. He'll be a 70-year-old man. Let him stay the rest of the natural days if he survives jail for that long. Let him stay the rest of the natural days if he survives jail for that long. Simonet said the pending application complicates any removal decision, adding, quote, that muddies the water quite a bit. Simonet added that older immigration processes allowed applications to remain incomplete for years, leaving many people in limbo. Here we go. This is the reason why we have to clear this up, right? Because this is really complicating matters unnecessarily. Immigration 5 or 6 years ago, it went in a file and there was no tracking or whatever of that file, so the files could get lost or never be worked on or whatever. So he could have been one of those people, and there are thousands of people like this. I don't think that's what happened to him. He didn't have all the stuff in that he needed. Right. He described the situation as similar as a big problem, but argued that deportation after decades would serve little purpose. Okay. I'm going to have to disagree with him on that one. But let's get your reaction to all this, folks, since we want to go down this road.
Please.
We are using this every day, acting confused when you see people in the papers applying for citizenship, acting confused by the number of people with different surnames who are here and not understanding what's happening. But the Constitution allows for this. We need to address this once and for all. Let's hear from you. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free. 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. 422-4796. Before we get to the calls, are you apprehensive about having this discussion?
I'm not apprehensive. I just know that it's going to upset me. So
why would it upset you?
as you said, we know the things that need to happen. The persons who are in positions of power knows what should happen. We need to inform and educate our folks, our people, much more so that we could fully appreciate why the Constitution needs to evolve and change with the times, but also to accommodate present realities, right? That doesn't happen. This is our history with referenda literally demonstrates and that we have not done the very best job in helping our people understand, but there's also the manipulation of by persons in power of our people when the referenda actually gets put out to our people. So it's hypocrisy. I'm not apprehensive. I know it's going to get me upset.
Okay, what's your stance on this?
Which one?
On Article 7. Should you, if your parents are not here legally, be entitled to apply for citizenship at 18 if you were born in the Bahamas?
So you have, it would not be out of line with what some other countries practice, right? You have different ways of attaining citizenship. Some countries just go by blood, some go by birth. It depends. I feel as though we have the opportunity to change how it currently looks, again, to suit our realities. But there should also be safeguards in place. I mean,
I don't think you answered my question.
sorry?
Where do you stand on it?
I want to hear what people say, Dwight. I don't want to go down this road.
Why?
know.
See,
Michelle,
this is how our leaders are acting as well. They keep kicking this can down the road. They don't want to address it. Dwight Strachan does not believe that if you come here illegally, if you are here, if you're undocumented, you come here and you have a child here, that child should be entitled to citizenship at 18. If you are here working, if you're here legally, and you have a child, if one of your parents is, as long as they are here, we know that they were here, and you have a child, I think it's perfectly fine. But not this way. Even if you were born here, should you at 18 just spring up and say, "I'm applying for citizenship"? I don't agree with that.
You should think it should be from birth.
No, what?
What?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, you take the citizenship of your parents,
Okay.
and
That's presently what stands, right?
at 18 you're allowed to apply for citizenship.
Right.
But yes, that's where it is in terms of your citizenship. But you shouldn't. Shouldn't be the way that you get to become a citizen of the Bahamas. Now, if you're still here and you want to apply the way other people do, we could go like that. But at 18, there should be no automatic. You shouldn't be grandfathered in. None of that. If your parents were here legally, it's a different story. Yeah? You have something to say. I can see the wheels turning in your head.
Is that not similar to what already exists then?
It's not.
Okay. How is it different?
At 18, you get to apply, and you often get it. More than often. Most times.
No matter the status of your parents.
Oh, the Constitution speaks to if any of your parents is a Bahamian and you're here. We know what that is.
Right.
But if neither of your parents are and if they're not here legally, we need to do something about that.
But you're saying until we do something about it, they take the nationality of their parents.
But at 18, they can apply.
Right. And that is not what already exists.
I'm saying that 18 that you can apply, we shouldn't have that in there.
Okay, so that should be the 18. Is it the age?
You should not be this. There should be no path for you to gain citizenship in this manner.
Okay. So is it the
Yes.
Okay. Is it that if the parents are here illegally, the children should have no opportunity to apply?
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Okay.
You've got something to say, Deandra. Say it.
I don't want to go down this.
Let's take this call. We cannot be afraid. We cannot be afraid.
No. I mean, I get it if the parents had not had broken laws, right? So But you're saying that the child has no right to apply
Should not.
not have any right to apply based off of the parents, but they didn't ask to be born here. They, okay. All right.
We got to protect ourselves.
I got you.
Yeah, they didn't ask for it. That's right. So parents do
It
things
would serve as a
do things the
deterrent,
right
though.
way.
It would serve as a deterrent.
Do
But,
things the right way.
but also at the same time, we'd be giving our citizenship to people who got a couple $100,000 to invest too, right? So is it that it's just the persons who can't afford it who did it illegally? But how did some of those people who have hundreds of thousands get that money?
Well, we say they can't afford. You'd be surprised. I'm sure a lot can't, but not all. But no, we've got to take a stand.
Okay. Yes.
Let's take these calls. Good morning, call. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? Caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Deandra.
Hi.
But I know over the years, my position. I lean more towards common sense and intelligence. I don't know what in the world Brent Simmons is talking about, but he was a former minister of immigration, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if he even spent a day in court practicing law, but he has a lot to say. But I'm not afraid of him. But, my thing is, Dwight, you don't talk about the belongers permit, which is also unconstitutional. That's why they're here, because they give them these belongers permit and tell certain things to sort it out. It's just nonsense.
It's all related.
Dwight. Hello?
It's all related. That's why. Because
yeah, it's all related. Yeah, but Dwight, let me show you something. When you look at our Constitution, why I say I lean more towards common sense and intelligence. One, you have to understand our Constitution of the Bahamas cannot give credence to illegality.
You keep saying that, but we've been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah, we've been doing it, but then we know it cannot. But
so we need to specify, be very specific with the language so that there can be no confusion.
Which is true, but Dwight, Article 7.1 was put in place. Let me say this first. If all persons of Haitian descent who have children in the Bahamas, if they were to go and apply for their Haitian passport, would they be able to apply for Bahamian citizenship? No, it wouldn't. Because they wouldn't. But they don't go. Persons who come from first world countries like Canada, the UK, the US, when their children are born in the Bahamas, the first thing they do is go and apply for their passport.
I don't think you should be generalizing like this. I'm sure that you'll be shocked what's happening all around. I don't know. Those are the facts. But
then anyhow, let me say this. Haiti is a French colony. Our Constitution said anyone who was residing in the Bahamas in 73...
Not a French colony.
They're independent.
They're not a French colony.
What you said?
They are not a French colony.
What,
Famously
Haiti?
not a French. You mean back hundreds of years ago? They are an independent country. Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm talking about during the time, our Constitution said that anyone who was residing in the Bahamas who were citizens of British colonies or former British colonies could apply for citizenship. It specifically said British colony. That's the operative word in that. British colony. It didn't say everybody. It said British colony.
I don't know if that's accurate either. But in any event, that's irrelevant to what we're talking about now.
But anyhow, Dwight. Anyhow, I'll put it to you like this. If persons would go and apply for their passports for their children and register them, we wouldn't have this big problem that we are having. I have a relative who stated that, right? Look. A few years ago, she told me that 75% of her students couldn't speak English. Now, ask any teacher, they're saying this. If all of the students of Haitian parents, Jamaican parents were to be removed from all of our schools will be empty. So the burden is on us to pay. That's the problem that we are faced with. If all were to be removed, you could register your kids. You could apply and register your kids in August and get classroom space. But right now, we are at a bottleneck, and we have some serious issues. We have a lot of cases in the country, and they cannot interpret law. That's our biggest problem. Everybody get a batch that they regularize around election time. And hence, we have this problem. Why is it, Dwight, Why is it? I'm sure you could remember. The only person I haven't seen done it was Sir Lyndon Pillin, maybe because I was too young. But as an adult, I've seen all prime ministers go into these shanty towns and have our English language translated in Creole. You know it. What's the purpose for all of this?
Okay.
If our language, if the language you're supposed to be able to speak is English. I mean, we are all screwed up. This country is all jacked up because they use it for political expediency, etc., etc. I don't know what the hell, but Dwight, we have a serious problem. But Article 7.1 was designed for persons who cleared customs and immigration, who we invite you, who on work permit. You send me if a tourist come here, if you have a doctor, a teacher,
Yeah,
have
we
a
get
child.
it. But it needs to be clear. As you say, plenty people for decades
clear.
now,
I
it's
can
not.
understand
It's not.
it.
It's
But
that's,
the politicians
everyone can
will not
interpret it
understand
differently.
because they know they have ulterior motives
okay.
to regularize these people to create this new voting bloc. You know that?
Okay.
The only persons who can't interpret this is the politicians,
It's
and
not-
they know exactly what they're doing.
Well,
But-
again, thank you, Cleaver. But it doesn't hurt to be specific and to be very clear in what you mean. Now, this is why I suspect DeAndre doesn't want to talk about this, because different things are coming out now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Your
I would-
hatred of specific people,
Right.
that's not what I'm talking about,
Right.
right?
That's-
That's
understand me,
xenophobia,
Dwight. You
right?
understand me.
So this is not a Haitian thing. This is not a Jamaican thing or American or whatever. It's just that you need to follow the laws. And what I'm saying is that if we put this in there, you won't have a bunch of people sitting around for 20 years saying, well, this is all going to be worth it because I'll be a citizen soon. And right, you could fix a lot of things if we dealt with this. How you feel about Haitians is a different story. If someone chooses to be in your country and they're a citizen and they want to speak Japanese, that's on them, right? That's on them. But what we've been doing is encouraging certain behaviors that are becoming a problem, and it's time that we address it. It is time that we address it. You have to get mature and really separate all these things into different columns because they're not all related. They're blurred, and they are.
It's not black and white.
It is not black and white, but do not be blinded by something else that's causing you to miss this thing that shouldn't be. Let's take some more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah. You see how clear you made it when you asked Deandra, she want to say something, like she was afraid to say it. It might sound a little weird, but that's why some women are not rulers, right?
Wait,
Because they want-
now, see, what do you have to go down there for? The men of the country have not wanted to address this issue. The men of the country haven't wanted to address this issue. Why do you want to make this a woman thing?
No, let me finish. I said that's why some women are not made leaders because they think with their heart and not their head.
Some men too.
Wow.
Exactly. That's why I say some women.
I don't think it's a woman thing. It's some
No, but
people. Let's say some people.
Okay.
And I don't think that's what was happening with her either, right? DeAndre, you can speak for
No.
yourself.
Some people
No,
are
I'm
bigger, eh?
Listen, my dear, let me inform
my
you, please,
goodness.
if I can, just for a minute. I am a former diplomat. I have a particular way of speaking on certain things that I find at times difficult to break. All right.
Yep.
So
But you're not a
let-
diplomat right now. You're in the Bahamas right now.
Well,
You're not a diplomat.
You don't need to be diplomatic around here, DeAndra. Just
I am saying.
lay it all on the table.
I know.
Oh wow. Yeah. But anyway, continue your point. Let's not make it a gender thing.
Don't drag the woman
Yeah, let's not do
you
that.
saying things, man. Just get straight to the point.
Become a right.
How do what? Sorry.
How could two wrongs become a right?
What are the two wrongs here?
Oh, I know who this is.
You
now.
enter
I know who
into
this
my
is.
country legally, and then you have a child. Then that child automatically becomes no man. That our constitution needs to be fixed. And also, when you get sworn in as a Bahamian citizen, you should be doing that in English, eh?
They say that is how it works. Mm-hmm.
But apparently, don't because most of them who have these papers with their Bahamians don't speak a lick English. I don't care if you speak Creole afterwards, you know. But when you sworn in, you better say our national anthem and our pledge in English.
I don't know if it's
And
most, but
we should. The Haitian Constitution states that no matter where Haitian is born around this world, they're Haitian. They have a Haitian passport. They are Haitians, and I'm not picking on the Haitians because why? That's the most we have in this country. When you have a house and your house is, I don't know, flooded with cockroach, you put down all kind of paste and buy all kind of bugs spray to kill the cockroach.
That's a terrible example to be using
No,
here.
but I'm just saying, when you have a flood of something in your presence, you try to get rid of it, or you try to fix the problem. You don't accommodate them by leaving bread out or leaving dirty dishes out. No, you clean the dishes. And DeAndre, you sound like you from Long Island.
Darling, I can tell you there's a way I speak and why I say certain things.
Those are now. See, I know why. This is exactly why she didn't want to have that conversation, because those examples were egregious. That was really uncalled for, and wow. Oh man!
Next thing you can start talking about how my island is street people, and then I got
that's where he was going.
Right on.
Oh boy!
Oh gosh! Listen, Jet. Let me be clear. I believe in following the law. I believe in improving the law where we can improve the law. I understand what we all saying. I get it. I get it. Now, I'm not a fan of packaging everything, because when we frame that in the context of referendum.
Well, that's the only way you can fix it.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of boxing them all together with different, like a whole list of questions, because I feel like we never get it through.
No. We need one.
Right.
And I keep pushing my idea of making January 10th annual referendum day. One question. We're going to fix it. This is what we're doing. Everybody come. And what better way to reinforce what happened on January 10th, 1967, than to have a day where every year the citizens come and fix the Constitution.
I mean,
make improvements to the country.
Other countries have similar activities. It is what it is.
But one at a time. You can't have 5. You can't have 10 questions.
Or even 3 or 4
No,
or
one.
5,
One.
right?
And take the year to educate, debate, have the discussions.
In an objective way.
Absolutely.
Right.
And fix it.
So again,
We got to pick this up after the news. Yeah? We're going to collect ourselves and have a sensible debate. Stay with us. Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. And now at 8:20, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Star General Insurance Made Simple. So we've got a near gale warning in effect for the northern Bahamas. Occasional gusts to near gale force are likely across and to the north of these areas until about noon today. Boaters, especially small craft operators, are urged to seek safe shelter and remain in port. So high pressure is going to continue to shift east of the area, and a cold front is going to move into the northern Bahamas later today. Scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms are possible across the northern and northwest Bahamas as the front approaches. Expect winds to gust near gale force over the area until about midday, as we said. In the central and southeast Bahamas, ahead of that front, partly sunny skies with an increase in cloudiness later this afternoon as the front approaches. That front's going to quickly move across the islands and reach the southeastern Bahamas by Tuesday. Behind the front, again, high pressure will build across the country, supporting gentle to fresh breezes and moderate or mostly stable weather for a pleasant week ahead. Today, there remains a moderate to high risk of hazardous rip currents and rough surf along Atlantic exposed shorelines. Beachgoers and swimmers strongly advised to avoid entering these waters. So again, your forecast for today for the extreme northern islands, a partly cloudy to cloudy day with a 20 to 30% chance of scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. For the rest of the northwest Bahamas, variably cloudy, becoming partly cloudy this afternoon, 20 to 30% chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. For the central and southeastern islands, we are looking at partly sunny conditions, becoming partly cloudy tonight for the central Bahamas, and pretty much the same for the southeastern islands. Only about a 10% chance of spotty showers. Temperatures today are still in that warming pattern. We've got highs in the 80s, around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight in the mid-80s. For most areas, could be the low 70s for the southeastern islands tonight. In your extended outlook, for tomorrow, Tuesday, partly sunny to sunny, turning mostly fair at night. That's going to hold for Wednesday into Thursday, and a mix of sun and clouds by Friday, becoming mostly fair at night. That's your morning blend weather check. Also brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Ready to refresh your space? We'll head to your local Sherwin-Williams for premium paint, pro tips, and everyday deals to make it easy to get started. And it's time for a check of your traffic, brought to you by Easy Car Sales, inviting artists to design a full wrap for their new Hongxi all-electric SUV. Create your mobile masterpiece and enter the electric canvas competition to win $5,000. Visit easy242.com to find out more. In your real-time traffic right now, we have heavy traffic on Marla Butler Highway, from just north of the Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. You'll see that slow-moving northbound traffic there. Tawny Williams Darling Highway seeing some heavy traffic both directions between the roundabouts with the Marla Butler Highway and Bahamas Games Boulevard. So westbound, you'll be seeing that slow-moving traffic, and eastbound as well. Then we've got Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic for you from Carmichael straight up to Independence Drive. And once you get north of Robinson Road, you'll see slow-moving traffic on the way to Cordo Avenue as well, near Big Pond. Back to Independence Drive, we've got traffic in both directions, especially westbound this morning. And East Street busy for you north and south of the Soldier Road intersection. Elsewhere, we are seeing some slow-moving traffic on Prince Charles Drive to the major intersections, especially as you get closer to Soldier Road and Robinson Road. That's westbound. And Eastern Road also slow-moving for you from Fox Hill to Mount Johnson Road. Those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic and your morning event traffic alert, brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. Whether you prefer a face-to-face chat or handling things online, they've got you covered. Visit NUAinsurance.com or for an instant motor quote, or stop by your nearest branch today.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us, because we've got you covered.
PLPs, let's get this campaign started. We're expanding opportunities for more Bahamians, and we want you to be part of the celebration. The Progressive Liberal Party is inviting you to our 2026 campaign launch this Monday, February 16th at the Bahama Convention Center. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and all are welcome. Join us for an historic event of special guests, entertainment, and PLPs coming together. We can't wait to see you there.
This ad is paid for by
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help
chicken tenders. And they're everything you've been craving. Crispy, juicy, and seasoned just right. These tenders bring the flavor from the very first bite. Dip them, dunk them, love them. With sauces like sweet chili, scorching hot, ranch, honey barbecue, honey mustard, and Wendy's signature sauce. Grab them as a kid's meal. Enjoy them on their own. Or make it a combo that hits the spot every time. For tenders you're gonna know by name, it's gotta be Wendy's.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there, the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive, Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clarkson Island Luck, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
Spend $150 or more store-wide by February 21st and enter to win Nassau Tiles Fila Cleaning Bundle, valued more than $300. These Fila cleaning products give you the strength you need to keep every tile surface in your home sparkling like new. Drawing takes place on February 23rd. Come visit our showroom today and see our full line of Fila specialty cleaning products. For every space, for every style, think Nassau Tile.
At Star General, you can go gold. Comprehensive car insurance covers loss or damage from accidents, fire, theft, and third-party liability. But the Gold package gives you increased coverage for rental car and windscreen, personal accident, medical benefits, deductible waiver, and 24-hour roadside assistance where available. Our Star General Gold package also gives you up to $2,500 for accidental damage to a rental car anywhere in the Bahamas. Go gold with Star General. Insurance made simple.
Don't shop at Sherwin-Williams then. Don't get the best service in the Bahamas then.
The love is really, really strong in Sherwin-Williams. We don't just sell paint. We service you with a smile, good hearts, mind, soul, and body. And we love our customers as much as we love ourselves.
Yes, real talk.
I'm not just saying this
Real talk.
to impress myself.
We love to go beyond with customer service. So they feel delighted to come in Sherwin-Williams because they know I can either see Dee Dee, or I can see Shelly, or one of our other wonderful staff members. We treat our customers with the respect of our boss because there are many paint companies they could choose to go to. No, baby. If they go to some other paint companies, so I gonna get this little thing at the end of the week.
We want to make sure you get that little ting, Shelley. Come visit Shelley and Dee Dee at Sherwin-Williams Bahamas, and you'll surely find colour in every day.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
For over half a century, Hongxi has been reserved only for heads of state and world leaders. It wasn't just a car, it was a privilege. Easy Car Sales is proud to bring that distinguished heritage to the Bahamas. A new era in luxury electric, rooted in absolute prestige. It's for the few who demand freedom from the gas pump and first-class craftsmanship. Visit Easy Car Sales to see if you're ready for a taste of royalty.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. What's strong on D'Andre Carter? D'Andre looks exhausted already. I mean, we barely have started to get into this, which is not where we really wanted to go today, but I think we need to, and especially as these campaigns are kicking off, these folks are ignoring this issue that has been, again, kicked down the can has been kicked down the road far long enough, and it's time for something to be done. And there are many other examples around the world as we're going through. We've identified Italy as one where this is the case, but you have to be specific in your constitution about it in the law, right? Children born to foreign parents can apply at age 18 if the parents and the children, have legally and continuously resided in the country up to that time. We are looking for trouble. We've done it. We've deported people and told them they can come back and apply. They know nothing about the country and aren't speaking the language. And BAME is getting all worked up. How can you not be speaking English? You come around here and talk about your citizen. Yeah, because that's what we've done. You can be deported and come back and apply. That's insane. That's insane. We've got to address this. I'm saying that there should be no path for you to citizenship if your parents are not here legally. Rewrite Article 7 to include that specifically in there. You will avoid a lot of the problems we've been experiencing over the past 40, 50 years. We have to do this immediately. We need a referendum on it. One question.
We need a series of referenda.
On all kinds of things, but one question on this, and then you will need the enforcement. There can't be any playing around with this, right? If you find people who are here who are breaking the law, like, well, what are you here for? Because you won't be a citizen. You won't, so it's time for you to go back home or go somewhere else.
Right.
But there are people around, waiting around because, like, well, I'm going to be a citizen soon. And so what are you going to do? We've created this mess. We've created the mess, and it has to be addressed.
Oh, will it be?
If we demand it, it has to.
We're adding it to the list. I'm going to start. We need to have a written list. Things that we want to see changed.
It should be a long list. Why not? That's how it is. That's how you develop a country. You fix things. They were working for you 50, 60 years ago. It doesn't work now. It's actually hindering the country. Creating monsters. Let's get your views on it. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. I'm going to tell you right now, if a political party comes to you and they're not saying they're going to have a referendum on Article 7, you shouldn't vote for them. You should tell them, go away. You don't want to change this place.
So have our list ready for whoever comes knocking.
Most of them won't even understand what we're talking about. When you ask certain politicians about it, they have a cross-eyed look. Their eyes get glassy. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, we got to fix it. But this is, the time has come. We have to be specific in what we want here. We've created this out-of-control monster. Let's go to the phone lines. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning to you, Dwight. Good morning to you, D'Andre.
Good morning.
Dwight, I beg with you to speak to this. Let's talk about this. I don't want to be rushed. I want to make sure I say it properly. Now, we talk about this so many times, right? On the face of the Constitution, both parents in the country without legal authorization is not by itself a stated basis to deny Article 7 entitlement to apply and be registered. Not guaranteed. Okay? Now, here's where we must look. You cannot read 7.1 without read 7.2. This is where the denial can be lawfully happen through a built-in override mechanism. This is what is called a constitutional carve-out, where it prescribes national security and public policy qualifications. Because if you read 7.2, it says, applications shall, not maybe, subject to such exceptions or qualifications as may be prescribed in the interest of national security or public policy. This means that Parliament can legislate disqualifiers, filters,
Listen, see, Alan, I got to stop you. Listen, we're saying that it needs to specify that your parents need to be here legally. And even if they are here legally, what you're saying should remain. Just because you were born here and your parents were legally, we got an issue with you because you did this. So that part doesn't need to change.
No, it does, right. It does. This is what I'm saying. We have to have the full context of what I'm saying. This applies to legal, the parents being here legally, and illegally. No. It applies.
Well,
okay?
We're saying that that there should be no path for you if you are born to parents who are here illegally.
Right. Public policy exists right now. See, there's a whole lot of things that we have, right? That we say things, but everything must be spoken to in its proper and full context, right? Because it allows refusal on specific grounds. There's rules in this country right now concerning being here legally and illegally. Parents, right? Very specifically for the parents. There is rules also in town right now for how does an illegal parent stay here for 18 years, Dwight? Okay? That's another problem. But at the same time, if we enforce the aspect of that law, we can do this even with a national ID, then who does that child remains with? Listen to this carefully, Dwight, because the law also requires that every child in the Bahamas under the age of 18 be in the custody of their parent or legal guardian. The legal guardian ain't your auntie, your cousin, your aunt, your friend, whatever you leave them with. It's legal, is prescribed by law. So if we just simply follow the laws we have in place, because what happens is that child can leave. But the disqualifier can also be that you have to be here in the Bahamas 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, whatever, before the age of 18.
Do you feel that there needs to be a referendum on Article 7?
No, they don't.
Okay.
Because 7.2, right, invite these people with these pretty titles like KC and whatever else in here. See, what happens, I'm saying to you, we always talk about 7.1. We somehow seem to always brush over.
When you leave discretion up to people, you end up with where we are. It is, yeah.
Right. The discretion comes.
So what
in
will
law.
change if we talk about what would change? What would change? You just want people to do their job. That's what you're saying, right?
90% of what you enjoy in law, right? It's not written in the Constitution. It's protected by the Constitution. See, the problem is we have never.
What would be the issue if we do what I'm saying and say that if
because
you're
we don't have to wait till then. This could be done tomorrow.
Okay,
Right?
but what would be the issue if we did it? If we did what I'm saying, what would be the problem?
Right. You know what you're saying? We can get there. But I'm saying to you, as it stands today, we would stop being gaslighted that nothing could have been done about immigration and nothing can be done today.
But again, what would be the issue if we did what I'm saying?
I'm saying, let's do it, Dwight. But I'm saying to you, the house is on fire, and you're saying, what if we actually have a fire suppression system in place?
Okay, no, see, I got to stop you there. Okay, I'm not the problem. Not at all. Not at all. Okay. You go and tell those people to do their damn job. They're not doing it. Right? They're not doing it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, Deandra.
Hi.
Morning.
Yeah, they're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it.
No, they're not going to do it. But you see, this is why you have this voter apathy. People really are not concerned about going to vote because of all of these levels of chaos. We need clarity. But Dwight, when the guy comes around or the lady comes around, my position is this. If you're going to swear allegiance to heirs and successors, some of whom are actually in the Epstein files now, I can't see how Bahamians could vote for them. None of them. If they're going to be swearing to persons who are being accused of what's been going on with Dr. Jeffrey Epstein. Huh? Think about that for a minute.
Well,
Okay, have a good day.
Okay, interesting. Let's take some more calls, and we got a whole lot of messages to get to. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Morning.
And this is why I don't feel like I don't want to vote this particular go around, because most people are one issue voters. And what it seems like, I haven't heard the FNM nor the PLP discuss what you just discussed. And I've talked about what you talked about for at least over a decade now, about plugging the hole for good, or having some plan to plug the hole in the boat, because this been happening for decades. And I frequently talk about Abaco, and Abaco is the ground zero. And it seems that both administrations for a long time, that same thing you said in terms of trying to stem or have some type of plan on future persons, they seem to ignore it. And if you talk to Pintat or Brave about this, they tend to disregard or distract you or try to gaslight you and talk about someone else. And sadly, the only party, sadly, unfortunately, that even bring up this issue is the COI. I mean, not necessarily saying go vote for them, but that seems to be the only party talking about this particular issue, which you're talking about. And these two other parties just going with the status quo. And you are right to bring this up. And I don't know. No one comes with a plan, but I'll hang up and listen.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And again, a lot of people are doing it for the wrong reasons, right? Because of hatred. And that's not what this is about. This is an error. This is an ambiguity that needs to be addressed. Right? Cleaver is right. That's how it's supposed to be. That the Constitution would not, and whatever it says, it would be saying things have to be legal, as in it meant that these people were here legally. But it has not been interpreted in that way, and we need to fix that. To say that it means that if both your parents are foreigners, they are here legally and legally working, legally contributing to the country. Right? And we're very happy for you to have your children here. We love it. Some of my best friends fall into this category, right? And you've grown up here. This is the only country you know. And you should be entitled to apply for citizenship. At 18, if you want to change it, whatever. But that is, we need to protect those people. For others who have intentionally broken the law and come here and had children and now are filling up the country with people who were not here legally, we've got a problem. And it will continue to be a problem. And some of them are wonderful people. But this is sending the wrong message. And a lot of people know about the rules in the Bahamas and are taking advantage of it. And I don't think this is what our forefathers, if you want to put it like that, meant. They didn't think this was going to be the result in the late 60s, early 70s. We've got to fix it. Caller would say you. Good morning.
Hey, Dwight and Deandra.
Hi.
Morning.
Hey, Dwight, boy, I listen to you all morning, boy, Dwight. You're right this morning, right? I agree with you that our parliament building was not effective from 1992, in my view, when it relates to this problem we are facing. In fact, ever since 1992 came, this problem started to increase the way it is today. I was there, I know, right? But our politicians, they are not prepared to create the laws to protect the sovereignty of this nation, because under backpedaling and all type of other skills, all type of stuff, because our parliament was created to make laws, but we see over the years that the only laws is they go in there and create is to protect interests or themselves, right? We know we have an issue going on. I voted, this can be, when I vote this time, God's life can be maybe my 6th time voting Dwight. And I've never went to a voter's, I mean, this is alleged now because I hope it don't happen, right? people are alleging that the parliamentary registrar is getting ready to have interpreters for people to vote. Now, if that don't send no message to where we are,
They were just on Zhivargo's show last week. That is not true. That is not true. There are lots of horrible, evil rumors being spread. I don't know. Some people are getting a lot of, I don't know if they're getting paid or they're having a lot of fun doing this. They're trying to rile us up in the wrong way. Do not be used as a pawn by people who are up to mischief.
Well, I agree with you, because what we don't need no unnecessary chaos for propaganda in this country. We don't need that, right? So I would like for people like you, when you all know these things. I mean, I didn't hear Chicago, I missed that one last week, but hey, it's loud out here. But so we need somebody to squash that, right? I don't know if Guardian could send something in the newspaper or the Tribune or whatever, but hey, people talking like that was a law passed, right? So, but going back to your issue, we need leaders with seriously interested in making the Bahamas a safe place for all. If you come here illegally, you should not be expecting to be engrafted in the country, because no. But if the country so allow it and permit it, right, we are people. Then we're going to attract the wrong set of people coming to our country, because if there's a place where illegality gets strive, people can be attracted to that, and we have to block these holes so that when for in the future, for people who come into our country, they can know that, like, yo, if you go to the Bahamas and you break their law, it can be consequences, and you can get it. You can get it instantly.
Okay.
That's the type of message we have to. We are a small nation, and we cannot afford to be overwhelmed from any nation. Right?
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. So, Deandra, this is what I think you were hinting at earlier. But we know this is the main argument for not doing what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
What about the kids? These kids didn't ask for this. These kids didn't. They didn't ask to be born under these circumstances. They didn't tell their parents to do this stuff. Why are we punishing them? And that is, we had a whole show on this maybe about more than a year ago, and that was one of the main arguments as well. But again, there is precedence for this. Other countries do this. You're the researcher. I'm going to put that as a project for you. We've identified Italy as one. Where the parents have to be here legally.
Yes.
There's no way around that. You won't be able to become a citizen if you are born in Italy and your parents weren't there legally. I'm sure there are others, but the children, that'll be the issue. Of course, most of these children will not be stateless. They'll be the citizens of the parents' country.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be cold, but I guess that's not our problem. It's not our problem.
At the end of the day, it boils down to if were the laws followed by the parents, and the children, unfortunately, will have to bear the fruit of that illegal behavior. It is what it is. The thing is, Dwight, where this conversation was going on during the break as well. I might as well tell y'all. The thing is that we can't be cherry picking with our laws either, and the enforcement of it. So the thing is that if you have persons who have come into the country in an irregular manner, in an illegal manner, then how is it that they were allowed to stay and to proceed to live and exist in the way that they do? So it's. I go back to what I had said at the beginning of this whole thing. Part of the reason I didn't want to go down the road, because there are many layers to this. We can't be hypocritical, but yet we are, because you have persons who benefit from others being in this country in an irregular manner. We don't talk about that as much as we could. We see shanty towns. We know they exist. There are people collecting allegedly funds from these places and spaces. I We can't be looking at one part of the problem and not the entire equation, and that's been our challenge.
And these folks have been willing to deal with that, pay for whatever they need to pay for in order to make it to 18 or 19 so they can apply. And we talk about this off here. It would be good to know the numbers. We aren't getting those numbers easily, and I think there's a reason for that. I suspect because these are either going to be way too high that would make for folks to be comfortable, or I don't know. But why aren't we getting those numbers? How many people we see? We assume everybody in the papers is applying through this process, but we don't know. We don't know anything. And if you go by the papers, it looks like a lot, but is it really? But it would be good to know.
It would be great to see the numbers, but I go on back to yet another example of hypocrisy. We don't have the numbers on so many things inside this country. We don't. If we started, Dwight, I am serious. I think I'm going to start a Google Doc, and I'll make it public. Like, what are the things that are promised? What are the things that we don't know? And if we had freedom of information, I think it would be a little bit easier, but we don't, and that's intentional at this point. It's intentional.
Mm-hmm. All right. This texter says here, what happened to Adriel is evil and tragic. I am enraged. Her killer should have gotten the death penalty, not 40 years. I believe all rapists, especially those with children, should be put to death. Nevertheless, your guest must realize, they're talking about you, and accept that some crimes are worthy of death while others are not. God himself established this, nothing new. Okay. Okay. This person says it's amazing that so many people don't understand Bahamian immigration law. It's a possibility that the Ferguson guy in question may have a father who is Bahamian but not married to his mother, who may have been Haitian. Well, we've addressed that matter. But again, he was supposed to present his papers, his documents to support his claims, and up to last week, that had not happened, right? Yeah. This person says here, I wish we were like the United States, where birth conveys citizenship. For now, texter, they're trying to change that. Unfortunately, we're not. Guardian Radio should have reported that properly. He is a Haitian national. It's not Guardian Radio. Stop it now. Right? There's ambiguity, and the Department of Immigration just cleared that up. And what difference would it have made? What difference? We have a murderer, a child rapist out there. What does it mean? You want to say what? All Haitians are like that? You're going to say something stupid like that? Bahamians don't do this? That's what you want to say? Focus. And stop mixing everything up together. That is not helpful to anybody at all. This person says here, it's ironic when these washed-up politicians cherry-pick issues which they had an opportunity to fix. Simonet needs to... Okay. Well, that last part's not nice. I'm not going to read that part there. Wow. This is so frustrating. These men in office know the problems that exist. They do nothing to address or fix the problems except to tell us what the problems are.
Right.
They were voted in to fix and address these problems. But when you have a voting public and that are rum and food driven, nothing ever changes. Rum and food driven. Okay. We are joking, Dwight. I think that that is one thing Trump might be getting right. Maybe the only one. They talk about immigration. Someone here is concerned about you today, Deandra. Okay. How would the politicians populate the country to ensure NIB contributions if they get rid of that loophole? Okay. I agree with you, Dwight. I do not believe we should reward people of any nationality who have been in the country illegally for 18 years with citizenship after they have already utilized. No, that's not what I'm saying there. That's and those right. So you're looking at, that's not the way to look at this. It's not that they were here illegally, and most of them aren't here illegally. As was mentioned before, belongers permits, they registered and everything. But I'm sure some are, perhaps. But okay. Anyway, after they've already utilized access to our resources illegally without any exception, without any expectation of our direct contribution to our economy. Example, NIB. Well, if you haven't contributed to NIB, you don't get anything. I mean, so what do you... Especially if you're of a younger age, it doesn't work like that. Anyway. You can't start with wrong and end up right. If you came here illegally, then everything you do in the country is illegal. You can have a work permit, but not citizenship. What do you mean? This is one of the most sacred documents of any country and should be protected at any cost. Well, the last part, you think you've got that a little twisted there. You saying that they should be able to get work permits? What? Well, think about that. Well, okay. I mean, that's a totally different thing. Anyway, I have a lot of respect for you and for being fair on a lot of issues facing the country, but why are you so dismissive of illegal immigration problems in the country? Yeah, and calling it xenophobic when it comes to Haitians, knowing that the country has a myriad of immigration problems that, if not solved, could see Bahamians becoming the minority in our own country. Which side are you on, man? You're not listening to the show properly at all. You're hearing what you want to hear. Speaking of cherry picking, what's what, right? I invite you to put aside all of your biases and listen carefully. I'm saying that if we address Article 7, we could actually start to fix the migration issue. It will require a lot of enforcement, and our law enforcement officers have a lot of work to do, without a doubt. But strongly believe this is contributing to where we are today. Strongly contributing, and we need to address it once and for all, that there should be no citizenship for you if you were born here to parents who were undocumented. Funny to me how Bahamians support this here, but jump on the Democratic U.S. platform and are anti-Trump when they are trying to declare this country, their country of this. It is ironic. I agree with you on that. But that's how it is. Right? When you're facing it every day, you'll have a problem with it. But when it's being done in other places, you're going to see things differently. This person says, "Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Dwight." Okay. Ask my potential rep about holding a referendum. What is that supposed to do? A precedent has already been set where the government didn't adhere to what the referendum said. Okay. So, again, if you want to function like that, well, they didn't do it before, and so I don't expect them to ever do. This is on camera, right? Everyone in the whole place just saw that, and now you put me in jeopardy. Thanks a lot. I hope you're happy. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so what? We must never do it again because the previous administration botched something.
Man, they saying their trust has been broken. It gotta be rebuilt.
So after you got your heart broken in your last relationship, you'll never, ever do it again. I mean, a lot of people do things like that. Yeah, sure. That's not a good example. Now, just because you got conch poisoning before, you're never going to need it again. Well, a lot of people say, "Yep, I'm never." Okay, so I can't think of.
No, listen. I know people who eat Barry on a regular.
Right, exactly.
And they got poisoned, they still
come back,
and they still go.
So if you could do that, if you could continue to eat Barracuda after what it did to you, then referendum should not be a bad word. Please. I'm going to take some calls before we have to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? Good morning. We can hear you. Yeah, nope. Okay, let's read these messages as we get ready to go to the break. This person says, "Oh, you want to try that one?" Yes. That's the point why what C. Allen is saying is that the law is in place and not being enforced. If you have a referendum, as you are suggesting, and change the law, it is still a matter of enforcement. It appears that our Constitution is only a piece of paper with words concerning this matter for decades. It's both. It's both. The issue is people are interpreting this in an unusual way. Right? You will need the part that he's talking about, even if folks are born here to parents who are here legally, because you might want to say, no, just because of that, that doesn't mean this. We do think we found that you have ties to, I don't know, some illegal organization.
Watch how you guys get flagged.
but you can't. We don't want to give you citizenship. You're gonna need that. But we're talking about something else here. We're talking about something else. Let's take the call. Yep. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Mr. Dwight.
Good morning. Turn on your radio for us, please.
Yeah. I bet you with the referendum. I think we need to go back again with a referendum with that. But the thing with Dwight, these two parties, they fuel off of this type of thing, man, for years. From I know myself as a young boy, growing up in the system, working places and having friends who been around here, who parents them in high places, and they mommy and daddy cannot speak English at all. For 20-something years, they still in this country and still cannot speak English. They come, you understand what I'm saying?
I hear you.
The thing with it, the FNM and PLP will never march the corn on this because they benefiting off of this. They know, this is me good, right, man. We could talk all day on this talk show every day. But the people them sitting down looking at us with drinking their coffee, they know how to fix the problem. Is it by just only other hold of a pen, by a pen, one signature, but they don't want to do it, Dwight. We could. So to me, I think it's a little far gone right now. The Bahamian people are gonna have to get up off their feet and protest serious on this right now, and put these two parties down. The two successive government who been in power, put their feet to the fire. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. This person says here, should those who are born here to foreign, what are you saying? Should those who are born here to strayed foreign mothers get citizenship? Is their father a Bahamian? If the father's a Bahamian, it's very clear on that. And reinforced by recent Supreme Court rulings. So what's your point? Most of these criminals are of other origins. What now? With our docs, what type of docs? Facts. Why is, if their parents aren't Bahamians, are they getting citizenship? So you have a problem with foreigners. That's what you're saying. Just all, no matter what. That's what you're saying?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. Texter, you sending me stuff. You know I can't read these messages. I agree with you. Just back from TCI, and it's 1,000 times worse than Abaco. There are areas with migrant communities where the police cannot go. Wake up, Bahamas. What are you agreeing with me about? What am I? Huh? Okay. Illegal immigrants' parents are responsible for their children's status. Did Ferguson apply for citizenship before he committed those crimes? If he has, or if he did, prior to the offending or to the offenses, how did he pass vetting? I don't know if you're asking the right questions. Anyway, if we want clarity on how Bahamian governments feel about immigration enforcement, drive by the Defense Force substation on the airport road heading to Coral Harbor at the boats on the blocks. Does that mean that? I don't know. The Bahamas seems to be the only country in the region where people are coming to work, live, and never want to leave. We have 400,000 people. We cannot take any more people. I don't know about that part. Why the Bahamas? Bahamians cannot go to their country and live the way they live. You sure? I mean, they might not want to, but I don't think they can't.
Some strong words here.
We need illegal immigration in this country to pay for all the VAT and other taxes that we have.
These are interesting.
Very bizarre text messages.
I don't know what's happening.
One more call, and then we got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
And good morning, Madam Diplomat.
Morning.
Good morning. Dwight, I think that a lot of what we've spoken about this morning with reference to this subject points towards a society of leadership where our leaders are willing to apply the law as a matter of convenience. Their response and behavior to what the law requires is of a matter of convenience as opposed to the letter of the law. I'll give you an example. Have you ever read the Bahamas' Preclearance Act? It was passed in 1973, the act that governs our relationship with the United States as it relates to preclearance.
Cannot say that I have.
I've read it a number of times because it has been of concern to me as to how, again, we apply the law as it relates to that particular act. And it is similar to what we're talking about. There are conveniences that we take when it comes to that. I'll give you an example. When you checked in with Bahamas and then cleared through security and you go into U.S. preclearance, you are officially in the United States, aren't you?
Yes, supposedly.
Yeah, you are officially in under the auspices of the U.S. government. In the event that you commit an offense that is determined by the U.S. preclearance, for instance, as you have entered in the United States and it's okay, you are taking $40,000 and you didn't declare it. They then arrest you, right? And for that purpose, you are considered in the United States. That practice then, you see, they then bring you back to the Bahamas, which is a form of extradition. Without having an extradition process, you are then taken out of the United States back into the Bahamas for an offense committed against the U.S. government. Then they proceed to take you to a court in the Bahamas, write up the offenses on a Bahamian docket for crimes or alleged crimes committed against the United States government. You then appear before a Bahamian judge. Evidence is submitted in some instances by the U.S. Customs officer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you have this strange dichotomy of applying the law for convenience for a specific outcome without respecting the broader protocol of how the law is supposed to function. And when the day is done, you are then found guilty in a Bahamas court for crimes committed against the United States government, and penalties are then applied by the Bahamas government for such offenses you might have been convicted of. I'm not a QC, I'm not a lawyer, but something tells me that something's awfully wrong with that process. Would you not say?
Okay. I hear you. I don't know. I mean, I think this is that's an interesting way to make the point, John. But yes. We do seem to be selective when it comes to obeying the law, and that has to change. Absolutely.
That's what we've been saying.
But we also have to clear up ambiguity. We have to be very specific.
Clarity is a beautiful thing.
What's wrong with it? Why are we afraid? Why are we afraid? People will interpret things differently, and especially based on what they're going through. And how you interpreted something 10 years ago might not be the way you interpret it 10 years from now. And where we can provide the clarity, we should seek to do so. And that's what we're saying. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're changing gears. We're talking about the work of the Department of Public Health and new initiatives and the impact they're going to have on the future. You don't want to miss this conversation, folks. Very important. Coming up in just a bit. Stay with us on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan.
Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation loan today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Spend $150 or more store-wide by February 21st and enter to win Nassau Tiles Fila Cleaning Bundle, valued more than $300. These Fila cleaning products give you the strength you need to keep every tile surface in your home sparkling like new. Drawing takes place on February 23rd. Come visit our showroom today and see our full line of Fila specialty cleaning products. For every space, for every style, think Nassau Tile.
The following is a paid political message.
The future is brighter. Vote for my diver. Hey, 'cause she is a fighter. Kalani. Hey, the future is brighter. If you need improvement, come join the movement. Come join the movement. Hey, you're looking for change, find it here. You're looking for justice, find it here. You're looking for truth, find it here. Vote for MacGyver. She's here for you. See everybody in Kalani. Change is here. Hey, hands in the air. See everybody in Kalani. Vote for MacGyver. She is a fighter.
That was a paid political message.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, February 16th, 2026. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Deandra Cartwright. And this morning, we are wrapping up for now a special series we've been doing with the Department of Public Health. And we are very pleased to have back with us Director Dr. Philip Swan. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
We have a lot to talk about, including the digitization process and some of the new initiatives you have. But I do want to get to some of the things that have come out over the past few weeks.
Sure.
In fact, last week we had health came up quite a bit on our show, from lots of different perspectives. And I know you all at the Department of Public Health have been working to educate people on health matters, preventative health matters.
Correct.
But there are concerns about what's happening with clinics, what's happening with the hospitals, and we know not everything falls into your purview. But so let's explain that. We had the director of the Consultant Physician Staff Association on a couple days after you were, the next day after you were here a couple weeks ago. But not everybody understands how this works. So explain that to us. The clinics, why are the clinics under Department of Public Health but not the hospital? And break it down for us, please.
Yeah, I think it was in 1999, I think, that the PHA Act was circulated and passed, and it created the Public Hospitals Authority. And the purpose for that was to try to expedite some of the administrative functions of the public health sector through an entity and try to, I guess, find an alternative way of especially recruitment and procurement in the public sector, health sector, which it's more responsive than the general public service, and there's an avenue to try to fix that. However, the determination was made at that time that rather than create an entire health services for the public sector, it would only move away the hospitals, tertiary institutions. And so the primary care facilities still remain under the remit of the Ministry of Health and the Department of Public Health specifically.
Right.
And so that is the separation there. So primary care services across the island outside of Grand Bahama, you have the Department of Public Health responsible for those facilities and services. For Grand Bahama, the clinics are paired with the Random Mountain Hospital, and along with the Stanley's Rehabilitation Center, the Princess Margaret Hospital, Supplies Management Agency, which also takes care of drugs. They are all under the Hospitals Authority.
Right. All right.
So one is quasi-government, and the other is purely government.
Right.
Public health is purely government under the Ministry of Health.
And you said two key words there: primary care.
Correct. Primary care,
not an
prevention.
emergency.
Exactly.
So that you don't have to go to an emergency room if you take care of your health.
Correct. Now, we do have the dual role in the Family Islands because we are the only health facility there in most cases, and in the public sector especially. We do offer some emergency care or urgent care for stabilization before you can transfer you to New Providence or any other facility for further tertiary level care.
Right.
So primary care is prevention. Tertiary is specialty services. Secondary is specialty services. That's like your gynecologists, your pediatricians. And then you have your tertiary, which is hospital-based care.
Right. So how is this working? Are people taking advantage of the primary care and the secondary that you're offering so that you aren't ending up in the hospital in a terrible state?
Well, one of the challenges we have with illnesses in general, I shouldn't say illnesses, conditions. Hypertension is known as a silent killer because there are no symptoms of hypertension until it's too late, and we have end organ damage. So our impetus, our thrust has been to try to carry the screenings into the communities. So when persons have their health fairs, they reach out to us and we do some screenings for them. Last year we should screen up to 15,000 persons in the community. And we try to find ways to try to get the information out to the public. One, of course, is through this media here and some other media trying platforms as well, social media. Traditional media is kind of expensive and also has a very narrow bandwidth in terms of who you can reach.
Right.
But we try to tap into it as much as possible.
Yeah. And are you noticing changes in the mindset?
So
people?
We are hearing, yes, that there are persons who are more willing to be advocates for change, in terms of advocates of ensuring that there are some policies in place that make it easier to live healthier. But it's going to take a groundswell larger than what we've seen thus far for any significant change to occur.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So there are lots of initiatives, lots of things that you're working on, including the digitization process. Explain this to us, where this is happening and how it's taking place.
So back in, 2018, 2019, we would have been a partner with PAHO, as we would have done assessments of our health information systems in the country under an initiative called Information Systems for Health. And basically it told us what our maturity level was, how progressed we were in our health and how well they were speaking to each other. We scored fairly, expected for the region. And we had put a plan in place to try to address it through funding through the IDB, which came around the COVID time. You're able to purchase equipment, hire staff. We have about 15 to 20 technocrats or technical staff in the IT area to try to drive us, to give us to this point where we are rolling out health information systems. To this point, or to that point, you would have had the information systems for pregnant women, as well as information system immunization. We wanted to have something that would capture the clinical encounter with the patient. So we have to develop that, and we're now in the process of trying to integrate all of those systems together. In addition to that, there is an information system for labs and for imaging as hosted by the Public Hospitals Authority that provides us with information on persons who have lab tests in that system. So persons in the family islands can have access to what it is that they would have done either at the lab situation. Our thrust now is to try to ensure that information is all placed in one platform so that when you now visit the physician at Elizabeth Estates, and you would have seen, and then you go to a regatta, for example, in Exuma, if you have an issue, the doctor in Exuma is able to look at your records and make sure that there's no contraindications to providing you the type of care that you need. If allergies are on the system as well, with medications you're taking, and when is the last time you would have seen a physician, if that's also available.
How far back are we able to go?
Well, this is just going forward, not necessarily going back. Going back, it's we did an assessment, and we had about, just for the Providence alone, over 1 million records, 1 million pages per clinic. So it's like 5 to 10 million pages of records. And like, okay, that's not going to happen. Because you have to scan those, and there's a cost per page.
Right.
So there's
but the records are still there.
Yeah, the records are there. Yes, we don't get rid of the records. So there is going to be an active process at some point where we're going to ask physicians to summarize the records and put that summary inside, inside the notes, so that an electronic platform, so that information is available.
So going forward, beginning when again? This was.
So it's a rollout. It's a rollout system. So unfortunately, we have not gone as far as we'd like to be. We've gone to several family islands. We would have started in Gambia and Adelaide for about 7 to 8 months trying to get everything right. We went to the clinics in New Providence. We're still having some issues there with adoption training as well, because as mentioned earlier, we do have 2 sets of physicians working in our clinics. So there's a PHA physicians as well as the TPH physicians. And even though we're two separate entities, we do work together on certain areas. And then, of course, you now have family islands. So we've gone to Exuma, in Bimini last week. I think we're in Andros this week. Just trying to make sure that we're getting the clinics staff trained on how to use the platforms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds simple that this would be beneficial, but explain how much time, how much energy will be saved with this being fully digitized.
Saving energy. Well, it makes it much easier because you now would have to. Well, for example, the physician will have the ability to manage you as a patient. The health system will have the information as to how well we are managing our patients. For control, for example, who is not necessarily, who is teetering along the path towards, say, renal failure because of their lab results are showing some stuff. How do we give focused attention to those individuals who are at greater risk, as well as how do we ensure that we are getting persons who are not responding well to, in some cases, the mental health that they may need, to ensure that they are understanding what it is that they are facing, and how are they coping with it, and how we can assist them with ensuring that they're following the steps necessary to make themselves in a better situation.
Any timeline when you think you'll be?
Well, we don't be finished by now, right? But hopefully by the end of this quarter, we would have gone to all of the family islands, and then we doubled now to our locations in New Providence that are not necessarily as signed on and tuned in as we'd like them to be.
Right. Has it been a steep learning curve for some folks to get?
Well, not necessarily, because there was the resistance or the thought that we would have some challenges, especially amongst the physicians. And I had to remind our team that each physician would have passed through the hospital at some point in time, either as a medical student or as an intern. And in those settings, we do have access already to health information systems through the lab information system, as well as the PACS for imaging. Right. In addition to that, a number of our primary care physicians have dabbled in the private sector, and so a number of those institutions out there use electronic medical records, either through NHI or through their individual practices.
I want to go back a little bit. You're talking about the assessment with PAHO, and we were, I guess, on par with the region. What does that mean? And how is the region doing? How are we doing in terms of this?
We were slightly below average.
Oh boy!
Because if you're going up to about 4 or 5, and you're like 2.5 or 1.5, that's where you're at. And that really speaks to the ability of medical record systems to speak to each other, the ability for them to, the existence, for example, make sure that it actually exists, but speak to each other, and then security issues associated with it. Is there a strategy, is there a policy for the onboarding or introduction of medical records nationally? Also technology that goes along with it, hardware as well, to ensure that you're securing cybersecurity aspect. It's not just software that supports cybersecurity, it's also the hardware. So those are some of the things that would have been some of our challenges. Of course, policies, and most importantly for us, it was the actual number of persons working IT in the health sector at that time. And at that time, it was very low.
Too low. Okay. So any assessments since then? And
we would have decided to wait until we finish this project before I do another assessment, because that assessment did take us about 2 months to do. Very intensive. We had all of our partners on board, and insurance companies, the NIB, DICT or DTAD, and ensure that we had as much information in there as possible.
So any changes for patients, for clients going forward, and how they've had to onboard themselves, or new requirements for them?
So the challenge for them would have been trying to be registered into the system. For us, in order for us to register you, we have to make sure that you are you. Right, so you have to bring a government ID. You have to verify with existing government systems, so NIB in some cases passport. But you will understand for the public sector, that's only a proportion of our patients.
Yeah.
None of our patients are non-Bahamians. So how do we verify their identifications is another step you have to take into consideration. Sometimes it'll take a while, because usually when you go to the clinic, you just go to see the doctor, or see the patient, the registration clerk, takes your basic information, and then you will sign on to the doctor. In this particular case, we have to know, we need to see your identification. You now need to ensure that that identification information that you give us matches what is in the system for you. You're going by the right name. And then, of course, then you go to see the doctor. That can take a little longer, especially when you have clerks who may not be as computer savvy as we would like them to be.
So non-Bahamians, as in sometimes undocumented as well.
But I mean, we don't have an issue. We don't determine or have a discussion on who's documented or not. Our role is to provide healthcare services. In fact, we need to ensure that we separate those two functions, because we don't want persons who are afraid to seek help when their health is failing, because they're afraid that they'll be picked up by immigration.
Right.
And that has been a fight across the system. You have doctors who have issues with that, nurses who have issues with that. But we sign on to certain conventions, and it is what it is.
Right. And they could pose a health threat.
They could.
Yeah.
Especially pose a health risk.
Yeah.
Given where some of them come from, and their failed health systems in some cases, or failing, I should say, health systems in some cases. So you want to ensure that we have a high level of vigilance for all persons coming into the country, documented and not.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So anything else that people need to think about when it comes to this part of it, the digitization process, and going forward?
So I think what we are aiming to, which is basically a global thrust right now, is the patients to understand that they are responsible for their health, and the medical record is theirs. Now, there are components of access to the records that we'll have to figure out to work around. There's some education we have to deal with for persons to understand what does it mean for you to have access unfettered to your medical record, and what are the risks involved with that, and safeguards that are necessary for that as well. So we will, first of all, digitize the system, and then afterward we'll start the educational process. The person can understand how they now can have direct access to their medical records, and those who are their wards for parents, children, etc.
Yeah. All right, so that brings up an interesting point. So who does have access, and who can look? And people, any doctor go in the system and see this, or is it restricted?
Well, for our system is, of course, doctors who are registered with who are employed by the Department of Public Health. Of course, each healthcare worker who accesses patients' records signs a called a Secrecy Act agreement, and I think you'd have seen that come into play some years back in Grand Bahama. But it works, and I think persons have to understand that the breaches in someone's health information has rarely occurred from the health system. It's usually you told some persons who told someone else, etc., and it's not rarely ever, if ever, tracked to the health system. So we're very confidential when it comes to an individual's records. But the other part of it, of course, is the physician, of course, have access to the full record to some extent. The nurse has information for your vital signs. That's it, not your diagnosis or other part in the background, because that's not necessarily what she needs to see. And the clerk just has information to your demographics. That's it.
Can you see who all has access in
so yes,
files?
The system has a tracker. So not only who has access, but also who has accessed and what time. And that's for us to drive home to physicians as well. The importance of them safeguarding their ID and passwords as they enter the system, and also to help them understand why we need to have lockouts at a certain time. The record has to close, and then you go ahead and do something. Go sign back in, but it can't be left open for hours on end while you do whatever it is you need to do, because someone else could come and access the record while you're not physically on that computer.
And safety in terms of whether there's a backup or if anything.
Right, so we have,
is that a possibility?
At present, we have a private vendor who is supporting us in this area, and they have all of the industry standards as it relates to security, backup, and ensuring that they do tests on a regular basis to make sure that there's no hacking or attempts at it. So those are some of the things that we have to put in place and ensure that we put in place. And what would have been one of the challenges we had moving forward with the record itself, because the Data Protection Act speaks to where data should be housed, data sovereignty purposes, and we had to ensure that it was in country and not with anybody else outside of country. Because now you can see, at the time when we spoke about it, it was like, oh, that's never going to happen. But now you see that the countries that we would have leaned towards for data backup in the cloud have been not necessarily understanding what could happen with those countries moving forward, and therefore access to your records. So we were adamant that we were not solving or not storing our Bahamian patient health records out of country.
Right. So if I wanted to get my information, that's going back, decades now. So how would that work?
Well, it's the same process as it always was. You write a letter and request your information. You prove that it's you, and you said you want to have access to your medical records.
And you get it from the 80s and...
Well, whatever you have on file, you'll have access.
Okay. All right.
Let me get a summary.
I just got a question. Is that going to be paper? Is that
Of course, it'll be paper. That's what.
Okay.
We got a copy of the paper.
Listen,
At
I will
least you
say,
can get it.
I was actually surprised. Years ago, I actually went to PMH. I was like, can I see my record? I need the details, whatnot. When I tell you I left there with a file folder,
Yes.
Well, there you go.
I was like, okay, all right, great. Now, mind you, they was like, you may have to wait a couple of weeks for this. I was like, do we have an expedition fee or something like that?
But where is it being stored? Like, I can picture big boxes.
They're files, filing cabinets and storage somewhere, and it's a lot. It's a high price for storage of medical records in the hospital system, especially because you have to keep records for at least, I think it's 5 years is what Data Protection Act said. I know it says now, but we are very careful to keep it for 7. So the additional years, of course, adds to it. And not talking about paper records, talking about films, actual films, which really have a lot of weight as well. So you have to find air-conditioned spaces and ensure that the information is kept, because she's still living, you go get her records.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We're talking with the Director of Public Health, Dr. Philip Swan. Let's hear from you, caller, and then we need to take a break before we get to some other issues with Dr. Swan. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning to Dr. Swan and DeAndre and Dwight.
Hi.
Yeah, I have a question for the doctor. The 5-year parameters, I thought it would have been more, given that I've spoken with a client of mine who hailed from Germany or Switzerland somewhere, and his wife was given some transfused blood that she contracted something. I don't want to say what it was, but he told her the record should be 10 years in order to go back and to trace these things, right? I know we don't have those type of parameters in place, which is frightening for me. And so as it relates to healthcare, I just wanted to comment, this has nothing to do with you, but by the way, about 7 surgeries. I've been put to sleep about 6 times, so God had to be with me. The first thing, I scared of my medical records, but the thing is for me, you said something that I have to opine on if we are looking at this socialist model to healthcare, I don't personally believe in it, but in some instances, maybe like senior citizens, people who are serving government, people who deserve this healthcare, and you talk about the illegals, not just Haitians, but anybody who doesn't belong here, they come in the hospital, and then it doesn't say the healthcare have to be free. And why I'm saying that is because when I look overall with a panoramic view of the BS going on, right? Why would you allow that? Healthcare, it doesn't stipulate that it has to be free. So hence the burden and the lackluster, inglorious state of the healthcare system. So we look at this administration and whoever was in before, maybe like 5 years coming up, and they bragging, but yet still A&E is still not what it should be. I mean, come on. I prefer, listen to me, Doc, don't get mad at me. You all need to have some assisted suicide thing there because people suffering, they rather just take 2 Oxycontin, drink 2 Guinness and smoke a slip and dead. That's what you all making people think right now because, no, listen to me. You all got to fix the thing there. It ain't got nothing to do with you. But what I'm saying is, why talk about the cost of healthcare when you allow it? It's mindless to me. Give thanks.
So just to add something there, I think you may have heard something that wasn't said. I did not say that healthcare was free. What I said it was accessible, to be provided. Most historically, especially when I was in the early years of my career, the persons who would pay them most quickly would be those quote-unquote undocumented persons. So, yeah, the fees it's not free. There's one fee for Bahamian residents. Once you prove that residency, there's another fee for those who are not Bahamians. And then, of course, you have the indigent who they assess the fee, and we have to figure out how we'll settle those fees. But it's not free. And healthcare is not free, no.
Wow, that's interesting. You think that's changed, or is it the same way that they're the ones who pay?
Well, I'm hearing this might be different now, but I'm not in a hospital. I was in a hospital setting.
Right.
So one of the things that we're trying to do with this digitized process is try to keep track of that as well, because trying to ensure that we have the information that's necessary to communicate with finance for our levels of funding is important, as well as determining how much of this is strictly health and how much is social. Right. So how do we balance those to ensure that we are getting the funds from the right place, reflecting what needs to be reflected, so that when the arguments come for additional funding, we have the information to use intelligently.
Wow. We're talking with Dr. Philip Swan. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more on some of the exciting new initiatives with the Department of Public Health. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
On Angie, fields have broken the bull riding world record.
Sure, Sean. That bull was angry.
Angie, I towards your red convertible.
I broke the world record and he broke my car. Oh well, at least I've got CG Comprehensive Motor to cover this.
Get covered for collision, damage, and more. CG Atlantic Agents and Brokers. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and ability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
PLPs, let's get this campaign started. We're expanding opportunities for more behemoths, and we want you to be part of this celebration. The Progressive Liberal Party is inviting you to our 2026 campaign launch this Monday, February 16th at the Bahama Convention Center. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and all are welcome. Join us for an historic event of special guests, entertainment, and PLPs coming together. We can't wait to see you there.
City of Miami Gardens presents JITG Music Fest. Janae Aiko, Ludacris, Ashanti, Nelly, Glorilla, LMA, Maya, Show, D-Nice and Friends, featuring WV, Donnell Jones, Case, Sunshine Anderson, and Kenny Burns, the Isley Brothers, El DeBarge, Stephanie Mills, and so many more. March 7th and 8th, Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets and info at jazzinthegardens.com. Jazzinthegardens.com.
Struggling to find your financial rhythm? Make that move to Fidelity and let us help you orchestrate your financial goals into perfect with free financial coaching sessions. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Are you or someone you love in need of at-home care support? Maybe you require medication administration, mobility assistance, or post-surgical recovery support. Do you have a loved one who is suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia and need patient-centered support? Portable and trusted solution available for you. It's called Assurance Home Care. We have certified Bahamian nurses and caregivers, and we can provide both hourly or monthly rates. Call us now for a free consultation at 242-810-8995. At Assurance Home Care, we provide quality care you can trust right at home.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are back with Morning Blood Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with DeAndre Cartwright. We're talking with Dr. Philip Swan with the Department of Public Health. All right, so we've got a whole lot of initiatives. We've heard quite a bit of them over the past few months.
Right.
But tell us more about what you're most excited about, what you're looking forward to.
So I would say the Department of Public Health has been partnering with the Ministry of Health. I know it sounds strange, right? To try to advance some initiatives. So mental health is one of them. Climate change is another. And of course, the wellness initiative. So from the mental health perspective, we have been working with a mental health programming unit. We've been to the Family Islands trying to ensure that we establish nodes on those islands, connections with individuals to let them know, hey, this is what we offer, this is this availability of services, and this is how we can assist you. But also to reach out to the government partners on those islands and train them in how to recognize some of the stress that's related with mental pressures. Right. So we did psychological first aid, and all of the islands we've gone into, making sure they understand how to identify persons who are at risk and how to refer them to necessary resources. In addition to that, we in the process of trying to finalize our National Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Strategic Plan, and that will help us to put together all initiatives that we're doing in the mental health space, so that there's something you can mark us against the register, so to speak, as to how we're progressing along those lines.
Excellent.
So
before we move on,
yeah.
so I was encouraged and a little discouraged by some of the discourse, but at least the conversations are being had. The
Yes.
police force talking about the use of non-lethal weapons,
Yes.
especially when it comes to mental health emergencies, and that will go a long way.
Right. So we've had a relationship, especially with the armed forces or security branches, we call them, uniformed branches. We would have sat with them to develop, well, how do you interact with persons who may have signs and symptoms of mental illness and work with them with their protocols as well. There was a spin-off to that in terms of how they actually address the mental health concerns of the actual officers. But again, all trying to ensure that we are widening the conversation, providing persons with the skills that are necessary. So we'd have partnered with the Bahamas Psychological Association and did some training with them over the last 2 to 3 years. Excellent. And we're about to re-establish or re-engage with them again. I guess it's important for us to do that because it speaks to the peace officer, which is in the uniform branch, being that first person of record when it comes to interacting with persons.
Oh, wow.
So we need to make sure that they have the skills necessary to address. Because social media is out there, and we want to make sure that they are protected from that perspective.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Wow. And you mentioned climate change and health.
Yes. So over the last weeks, actually been in strong conversations with the Central Climate Change Unit and Office of the Prime Minister, trying to ensure that we are advancing our Health National Adaptation Plan. So we would have launched that in 2023, it was, or 2024, one of them. And we would have had the ability to basically identify, well, what is the role that climate change plays in health and health plays on climate change. So right now we're trying to sort out, we would have launched our health heat bulletin several years back, making persons aware of the risk associated with heat and illnesses that accompanied with it.
Right.
We're working with the Department of Meteorology, put this bulletin on a regular basis. We're now working in communities on Family Island, especially to try to find these things called cooling centers, where during the hottest part of the day, there's a place where the elderly especially can go and be cooled.
Wow.
Because most persons don't have air conditioning. So find a place where they can go and be out of harm's way as it relates to heat. So we're working along trying to push that. I think we're in the process of identifying 2 islands to start off our pilot with some funding as time goes on before. And of course, this has happened before the first heat wave, right? But these are some of the things that we're trying to do.
You got about 2 weeks.
No, man, live it
the way how things are going. Oh, gosh.
But yeah, so those are some of the things we're trying to do in the process of finalizing our community handbook on climate change and health, as well as we've gone to the families, as I mentioned as well, trying to establish relationships with those communities, trying to sensitize individuals about those aspects.
All right, so I have to ask you about this, Dr. Swan. We are seeing some big changes coming from our friends to the north.
Yes.
The massive climate change denier policies kicking in, rolling back changes that were put in place a few years ago. What impact is that going to have on us? And if they have basically dismissed everything that you're saying, that climate change impacts health, how are we going to be protected from this?
Well, I think we have to realize that our neighbor is just one out of many countries around the world.
A powerful one, though.
Powerful, yes, but one of many. And work that has been done in China, for example, several years back, they have documented that their air is much cleaner. They are larger producers and consumers of electric vehicles. And so they have done their part in trying to clean up the mess that they were making on that side of the world. So, of course, climate doesn't sit one place, right? It affects the whole thing, the whole planet.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I know when we were in high school a few years back, they were talking about the size of the hole in the ozone layer. The hole in the ozone layer, and they said, it's about the size of Antarctica. And I think most of us believe that hole was actually over Antarctica, right? But not realizing that it was over cities. And so the impact was actually direct. And I would have felt it. I went to Europe last summer. This heat is hot.
Yeah.
This heat is hot, right? And not just the heat being hot, but you feel it on your skin. You feel a different type of reaction. And I think it's because the ozone layer has just been depleted over these large metropolitan areas. So it's not a guesswork that climate change is happening and that change is impacting our health. Yeah. It's just what do we in our small corner do to prevent it, or to try to not prevent it but mitigate as much as we can the impacts of it. So when it comes to climate change, for us, our first thing comes to mind for most persons are hurricanes. But that means you have to build more resilient ensure that for us from the health sector, that our facilities have redundant forms of energy supply. Right. So whether it be solar panel or working generators, just to ensure that the provision of health services is not interrupted. Same thing with water. How do we inculcate, introduce, implement, integrate cisterns, rainwater catching cisterns, so there's water for you to consume or to provide services whenever there is a drought. So to try to work with to ensure that we are protecting the health system, ensuring that there's continuity of business continuity even after we're impacted.
Yeah. So no matter what happens over there, that doesn't mean that
we don't stop our work. No.
Right.
No.
Don't go out and buy big, giant, gas-guzzling SUV just because. Right?
That's not recommended.
No.
But of course, we're just part of climate change and health. The whole climate change argument, although the leaders in that is, of course, the office of the Prime Minister.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they would definitely be able to speak more to the country's policies related to that.
Yeah. Are you noticing the public change their perception on the health aspect of this with climate change, and that this can have an impact on you?
So it's a slow turn, and I think as we get more information out there, persons understand the impact, and even working with our health providers themselves to appreciate that that what you're seeing may not necessarily be a normal consequence of that illness, but maybe something that's exacerbated by the fact that it is hot.
Yeah.
And there's a heat stroke,
wow.
and there's heat exhaustion. There's some other things that we need to consider as we look into it. And trying to find ways as well to use the funds that are available in climate change to help us to mitigate some of these other things that we're talking about. So mental health illness is one of those things that we need to continue to keep in the fore, because we knew after Dorian what happened, which was slowly exacerbated after with COVID. So it's these haven't gone away. These are still there. Our communities in Grand Bahama and Abaco are still impacted these 6-7 years later, and we're still paying. The ministry is still paying for counselors to go in those communities and provide services for individuals who have been impacted. So it's not as if it's something that's a one-of and you do away with it.
Right.
These are real things that we need to figure out how we can continue to address and mitigate.
My goodness. So what is next for DPH, Department of Public Health?
We'll continue more of the same, I guess you can say, trying to ensure that as we move along with our programming, we're also closing some of the gaps as it relates to our facilities. That's been a linchpin for us. The Ministry of Health, of course, is one of our big daddies, and then a process of trying to close out some of the work that they would have started. And in addition to that, we are rolling out our lab information systems. We finally got the funding for it, and as of the end of this quarter, we hope to be rolling out in about 4 clinics, and then moving on to another 5 or 6 by the end of the whole 6-month period. Okay. And that's making sure that they have chemistry and hematology, the basic biology, and that's going to help us to be able to prevent persons or screen them at an early age, especially for cancer, an early stage of things, and also to prevent persons having to come into New Providence. If someone has a chest pain, we can say to this person, okay, this chest pain is not a heart attack and not likely to be a heart attack because your cardiac enzymes are not rising. So it's probably indigestion or something like that, so we could keep you here for a little bit longer, treat you, and let you go. Right now, if you have a chest pain in the Family Island, or if you have a serious injury to your leg for imaging purposes, but chest pain, you need to come out, because if it is a heart attack, there's no one who will defend you keeping that heart attack, even though you didn't know it was. In some cases, reality is they come in after an airlift, and because it's not a heart attack, it is indigestion, they release the next day. But, the issue is you have to be safe and careful with people's lives, because one mistake is a life.
Yeah.
And we don't have the luxury of doing that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Swan. It's been a great series. Hopefully we will be able to do some more this year and going forward. But thank you very much for all the work that you all are doing at the Department of Public
definitely.
Health.
And I guess I must say it has been a challenge trying to make sure that we had our shows covered. But I think we made it at the end. And I think we can see the benefit of having this relationship. And of course, as we move on, we'll determine how we come forward with the next part of this relationship.
Excellent. Again, to everybody who's been a part of this, thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for organizing it.
All right, and just before I go, I'd love the staff of the Department of Public Health and those in the Ministry of Health as well who assist us, and by extension, I'll also extend that to the Public Hospitals Authority and National Health Insurance Authority.
Excellent. Great stuff. We're going to take a quick break and be back to wrap things up again. Dr. Swan, thank you very much. Stay with us. Final few minutes of Morning Blend Business coming up in just a bit.
JITG Music Fest. Janae Aiko, Ludacris, Ashanti, Nelly, Glorilla, LMA, Maya, Joe, D-Nice and Friends, featuring SWV, Donnell Jones, Case, Sunshine Anderson and Kenny Burns, Isley Brothers, El DeBarge, Stephanie Mills, and so many more. March 7th and 8th, Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets and info at jazzinthegardens.com. Jazzinthegardens.com.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The government will ensure that the benefits of AI, artificial intelligence, do not create more economic or social disparities in the country, but are accessible to all. That's according to Prime Minister Philip Davis speaking Friday when he delivered the keynote address at the RF Economic Outlook at Bahama Resort. He explained that as AI perpetuates every part of our lives, there needs to be intentionality around making its use available to all. Prime Minister Davis telling members of the media Friday that he met with Grand Bahama Power Company's technical team in the midst of ongoing negotiations for the government to acquire ownership of GBPC, adding that his administration is moving to close the deal as soon as possible. Davis saying the takeover, as he continues to push for the takeover of the Grand Bahama Power Company on Thursday to present remarks at the Grand Bahama Business Outlook, after which he met with the GBPC representatives. He defended the government's efforts to acquire ownership of the power company at the Outlook, charging that the difference between what Grand Bahamians pay for electricity compared to what the rest of the country pays is stark. And as the Bahamas, Caribbean, and Africa continue to deepen trade ties, Chairman of the Bahamas Trade Commission and Chief Trade Negotiator for the Bahamas, Senator Barry Griffin, has been appointed as a member of the Board of Directors of the African Trade Chamber. The ATC says the appointment marks a significant step in strengthening strategic trade, investment, and economic cooperation between Africa and the Caribbean. Griffin telling Guardian Business that this position brings the Bahamas and the Caribbean to the table to continue to forge trade relations with the African continent. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Friday, your market movers: Cable Bahamas moving 7,500 shares, closing at $3.80 unchanged. Focall moving 1,030 unchanged at $7, down 5 cents to $4.54. Fidelity Bank moving 200 unchanged at $16.21. Consolidated Water up 6 cents, closing at $7.49. Emira Incorporated up 30 cents, closing at $12.62. The BISX All Share Index closing at 3,187.52, up 0.31. Recapping the week, the local market ended the week with 87,090 shares crossing the exchange, with 26 trades accumulating a value of $418,662. The BISX All Share Index gained 5.52 points, or 0.174%, Year to date, the index is up 71.31 points, or 2.293%. The volume and value leader, Commonwealth Bank, moving 77,825 shares in 14 trades for a value of $333,436. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And tune in tonight to CFAL Talks, right here on Guardian Radio at 6:30 p.m. Deandra Cartwright, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you so much, Dwight, for having me.
Thank you for being part of difficult conversations.
I would say anytime, but it needs to happen in order for us to become a better Bahamas.
Absolutely.
It needs to happen.
I'll see you again soon.
Yes, definitely. So not next week, but week after.
Right. I'll be back tomorrow morning, though, with more Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay tuned for On the Clock there in green next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.